Hello, I'm Mark Shumsker and welcome to TruePokerDealer.com. In this video I'll be teaching you how to cut the chips like a professional casino dealer and a little bit of this and a little bit of that that's related to it. Don't forget that we also have a chip handling video. I recommend you watch that first. And then there's rack maintenance and interacting with the chips in the rack as well. I recommend both of those videos as well. But to start out, as you can see, I've got these chips laid out here. Now, I'm assuming that these are all full stacks. In casinos, you consider a full stack to be 20 chips of any individual color or denomination. And as you can see, I've got $1 chips here, pretend these are $2 chips here, $5 chips here, $25 chips here, $100 chips here, and $500 chips here. Now, something that you note, when you break down the chips, the reason that you do it is for surveillance, for the casino, for the dealer, for verification, and for the players to feel comfortable with what they're seeing and how many chips are actually being in whatever transaction is being done. So in this case right here, you can see the $1 chips, $2 chips, $5 chips, and $100 chips are all broken down in fives, meaning there's 5, 10, 15, 20. This is splashed out so that when a dealer actually gets this all together, you can see that these are all the same as this, and it's 5 per stack. 5 per stack for the $5, 5 per stack for the $2, 5 per stack for the $1. Then if you think about it, 20, this is $20, this is $40 for the $2, this is $100 for the $5, and this is $2,000 for the $100 chips. Now, I don't have any 50-cent chips here, but 50-cent chips, $25 chips, and $500 chips are all done in fours. So 50-cent chips, if it was 4, 4, 4, 4, and 4, that would be $10 per stack of 20. $25 chips is $500 per stack of 20, and $500 chips is $10,000 per stack of 20 chips. And you do it 4, 4, 4, 4, just like that for those denominations. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what it looks like just to break down a stack of chips, and then I'm going to teach you how to do it yourself. So this is a 20 stack, and I'm going to break it down just like this. Clear your hands at the end, pick it up, and that's what it'll look like, and I'm going to teach you how to get to that right now. So here we are all zoomed in so you can really see what's going on. Everything that I'm going to do with my right hand. That doesn't mean you shouldn't learn how to do it with both hands. It's just the mirror image with the other hand, and a professional dealer has to be able to use two hands. Cutting chips, for instance, you have to be able to do that. There's so many situations it comes up where it's necessary. But here we go. I'm going to take the grip that I taught in the chip handling video. I've got my $5 chips here that I break down in 25 stacks, meaning 5 chips at $5 each is 25. That's industry standard. And here we've got our $25 chips that I'll break down in fours, which are 100 each. That's 4 times 25, that's $100, that's industry standard. They do it that way to make it as easy as possible. So here's the first move. We've got the grip. Now when you've got the grip, shown in the chip handling video, you pick up all except for 5 chips. Now the placement of where your next stack is going to go, oh by the way, if you pick up 4 by accident, that's fine, just drop one down. If you pick up all except for 6 by accident, that's fine, just pick one up. No big deal. So once you've got all except for 5, which with practice you should get most of the time, you're going to drop the next stack, and you want all of these chip stacks to basically go toward your arm. Now I'm cutting these chips with my index finger. That's considered to be the most professional way to cut chips. Some people say that in poker you can cut the chips with your thumb. I agree that you can get the job done, but your ceiling for speed is going to be higher with your index finger, and your flexibility is as well. For instance, if I go toward my arm, I have this entire range of motion. I can cut the chips in this direction, I can cut the chips in this direction, and everything in between. If I'm using my thumb, I've got to go perpendicular to my arm, and I can really only go this way, or I can go this way, which nobody goes away from them in casinos for a few reasons. So basically I recommend learning with your index finger, but with your thumb these principles still apply. So you take all except for 5, and what I'm going to recommend to do is you keep the same grip except lift your index finger and put the chips a little bit far behind the other stack when you're learning. This is training purposes. Ultimately you're going to put it down close to it. But here we go. Back here. Now you've got your pinky protecting the back of the chips, protecting them from when you push it up here and you try and prove it, it's going to come toward your hand and it's going to come out of place if your pinky's not down. So make sure you've got your pinky down, your thumb on the side, down on the felt, your middle finger on the other side, down on the felt. You push it up. This is called the bump. They say bump and then they say prove. Prove. So you take the stack, you push it into the other stack. Don't be afraid to move it a little bit when you're learning. And then you take your index finger flat against the chip, right toward the other chip stack, and it's going to make contact with the chip stack that you're holding at the same height as the chip stack of 5 that's already down there in this case. And when you do that, right across, and you just pull it up into your hand like this. At that point, you've cut the chips, you pull away from them and release the ones that are there. You drop them down, you get the same grip that you just had, you bump and you prove. Same thing that you just did. Drop them down, now you bump again, and now you prove again, even though there's nothing else that you have to pull up. The reason you prove here is to make sure that this stack that you're splashing is the same height as this stack, and this stack, which you've just proven. Without that prove, you could have this go on right here where it's 4, 4, 4, no prove, 5, and then you pick them up. So that's why you prove at the bottom there. So once you've gotten down here, you dropped all the chips. If you make a mess of it, that's okay. You're learning. I guess so am I. So you get down here. Now the way that you splash it, you take the chips in your thumb and your middle finger. There's a few different ways you'll see it, but this is the way I recommend. Now some people will spin them. I don't recommend that. Some people will drop them. I don't recommend that either. If you get sticky chips, both of those are going to be tough and they can go flying a little bit. I recommend taking the chips at an angle with those two fingers and just push it off the felt. Push it off the felt. The chips will push themselves into position. You clear your hands at that point. You have to clear your hands in order for surveillance and everyone else to see how many chips are actually in the stack. And then you put your thumb on the left, or however it is. You put your thumb on one side, your middle finger on the other side, and your ring finger and pinky behind, and just scoop them right up and prove when you get there. That last prove is to make sure that as you scoop them back up, you don't throw a chip into your palm or anything like that. When you've proved it, and it doesn't take any extra time, by the way, to just go like that as you pick it up. It's the same amount of time if you don't do it. Once you get here, you start picking them up, and I recommend using the grip with your fingernail down on your index finger, your thumb on the side, your middle finger on the other side. This is the easiest and most flexible way to hand off a stack of chips. Again, I'm going to show you this one more time. You come here, it's bump and prove all the way down. Splash, pull it up, prove it, pick it up, hand it off. Now if it were a $25 chip stack, each stack of 4 is $100, like I said. It's bump and prove. Now notice, I'm not exaggerating it anymore. I'm not going over here and pushing into it, going over here, pushing into it, pulling it way up. When you get your fingers used to it, it goes a lot quicker and easier. So now you've seen how to cut chips professionally. Remember, learn with your left hand as well. Practice, practice, practice. You want to get this correct over the course of time. It's way, way, way easier to get a job dealing. It's way easier to be quicker when you actually get in there and avoid bad habits. If you need to go back and look at exactly how to do it, maybe it doesn't feel right or look the same way I'm doing it, go back, figure it out, see what you're doing wrong, make sure you get it correct and practice it. Very, very important. Thank you very much for watching this video. My name is Mark Shumsker and this is TruePokerDealer.com. Kind of good, right?